right, let's get all this shit situated. Well, this is up. Oh, let's see. Booster seat, dude. Yes. All right. How's this looking? What is up, fellas? I need to start promoting these more. I don't really like promote the live streams. I just kind of do them on a whim. All right. I guess I only announced it to like half of our clients too because I didn't. Oh yeah, I fucked that up. Oh well, if nobody shows up, no big deal. But if you guys do have questions, that's what I'm here for. I'm going to just be hanging out, doing my thing, working a little bit. I guess I should have announced it on Instagram too. Would have been useful. Yo, what's up, dude? Yeah, I should really announce these on like Instagram, and I should be announcing it on, like, I should send out an email. I have an email list with like thousands of people. I have Instagram. I only really announced it to the Telegram chat and then a few of our clients. So I'll do a better job next time. Maybe I'll do one later in the week, like Thursday, pre-plan it. But yeah, so Keegan and I have this peptide thing going, man. I'm pretty stoked about it. It's going pretty good. Making a lot of sales for research purposes only. A lot of researchers buying stuff for their lab rats. Just got back from Tucson. What's up, dude? Why would anyone want to go down to Tucson? Went down there for a gun show recently. I don't know if I could live there, man. But yeah, so we just launched this. We launched this peptide thing. Pretty excited about it, man. So the big thing with peptides is that people are afraid they don't know what they're getting. So most of the stuff pretty much comes from the same places, for the most part, or the same series of places. But unless the stuff is tested, you don't know if it's contaminated, that kind of shit. So our goal is to solve that problem, essentially. We've got some good stuff on there, though. I don't think I'm actually supposed to talk about that on YouTube, but down 10 pounds week 2. Hell yeah. Just getting started, buddy. Just getting started. Well, technically, no, because peptides are for researching. If you're a researcher, they're for using on your lab rat. But if you do have a lab rat and you want to conduct experiments on it, then we're definitely down to help you out. But I can't like make recommendations for what a person should do with these substances. So it's definitely not something that we're going to be, just throwing around willy nilly, just like anything else. Yeah, it's for your goat. Yeah, that would work. But yeah, it wouldn't be something where I would just be like, okay, like day one, here's your onboarding, take these peptides. It's not going to be like that. It would be more like, you inquire about it, or there's something we think might be useful that we'll say, hey, maybe we should try this out. I'm not the kind of coach that just wants to throw substances at people. I don't like to rely on supplements and pharmaceuticals, but we will use them if they're going to be beneficial. But I don't want it to be something where it's like a sales engine for me, where I'm like bringing clients in and then be like, oh, cool, well, I can make more money off of them by selling peptides to them. It's not supposed to be like that. That's not my goal. It's not a way to extract money out of people by making them take something they don't need. So, but a lot of this stuff can be extremely useful depending on what your goals are. But yeah, next time we are for sure going to announce this. Yeah, maybe I'll send out a newsletter tomorrow night, and I'll message everyone in True Coach. Probably get a better show up rate. But if you guys do have questions, that'd be cool, because what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to clip this. Like I'll clip it and I'll make an Instagram reel if there's anything that is useful. Long term. Yeah, well, it just depends. Usually no, right? Because with peptides, like you're basically sending some kind of metabolic process in your body into overdrive. And you don't want to do that long term, because you're gonna deplete the substrate that's being used to make that effect happen. So at some point, it's going to cause like desensitization of something, or it's going to cause like some kind of depletion. I can't really think of anything that I would want to run all the time. Maybe like CJC and ipamorelin, like something that's going to be used for increasing growth hormone. Because obviously throughout most of your life, you have growth hormone to some degree pumping through your body, so that would be fine. But I wouldn't use like any of the GLPs or MOTS-C or even BPC forever, because eventually you are going to run into problems, and not like, it won't be like acute problems. It wouldn't be like something where you're just going to keel over and die. But you could cause some kind of like deficiency that could be an issue. So, and then there are also other considerations too that people don't think about. There's things you need to supplement when it comes to certain things. So, like some of these mitochondrial peptides. Like before you would do like a MOTS-C cycle, right? You'd want to run like PQQ and urolithin A and maybe some coenzyme Q10 to kind of clear out senescent cells and get your body ready to upregulate the mitochondria. Some people will take SS31 for a cycle before they run MOTS-C as well, for that exact same reason. So, but some of the other stuff that's a little bit more benign, like, the BPC, the TB500, the GHK copper, you could probably run that stuff for quite some time and not really have too many worries. And there's not really a whole lot you need to take, like to supplement its effects. But with the GLPs, you even don't want to stay on those super long term. Although all the studies on humans, they're staying on them for 18 plus months, I think. So probably not a huge problem. But hopefully we would get to your goal before that time period. Unless you need to lose like 400 pounds or something. So yeah, they're useful. They're great, right? Like, we love our peps, but it's the right tool for the right job. The wrong way to look at peptides would be, like a candy shop. Like, what can I take? Maybe if you're looking at it like, okay, well, here's all these tools. Like, do one of these tools solve a problem that I have? But I definitely wouldn't want to just be like, okay, well, like, what can I afford, and just go get a bunch of stuff and start using it when I don't necessarily need it. Like for me, something like MOTS-C is pretty much useless. Like, so it just depends on what you need. And, depending on what your goal is too, that might be counterproductive too. Peptides for internal damage repairs like spine, ligament, shoulder injuries. Yeah, so the healing factors, right? Like BPC 157, TB 500, to an extent GHK copper. Depending on what the injury is, these can be beneficial. Also, CJC, ipamorelin, anything that's going to increase growth hormone, because that's going to, kind of make your body repair tissue. But depending on what the issue is, it may or may not really work, right? So, like for instance, I'll give you an example, like BPC 157. Primarily, how it works is it increases angiogenesis. So this is like formation of new blood vessels in tissue. Well, it works really well, like where there's soft tissue, but it's not going to fix. Like if you have a blown out disc or something, maybe getting some blood flow there will help, but it's definitely not a miracle. So it depends on what the problem is. It's not just like it's not magic, right? It's a substance. It has an effect. If that effect is going to be beneficial for what you have. Like if you have a completely separated muscle, obviously like it's not going to fuse the muscle back together. So it just depends on what the problem is. But because the risk, in my opinion, is relatively low and, like the cost isn't that high, it's always worth a shot. I've had some pretty amazing experiences with BPC 157, for instance. Like I tore my adductor at a powerlifting meet a few years back, and it was pretty bad. The doctor told me I probably wouldn't be able to squat for, a year. And like 8 weeks later, I was back to squatting like 405 for 10, I think. So it was very good. My goat has a rotator cuff injury. My horse has some back issues. Yeah. Yeah, man, I think it would be a good idea. I would buy something like, like Glow Blend that's got the BPC, it's got the TB 500, and then maybe I'd also buy the CJC and the ipamorelin, and I would do that and run that and see what works. You run maybe 500 micrograms of that twice a day for like 6 weeks and see how you feel at the end of it. Some people it's a miracle, some people it's not. Maybe it'll help some of your injuries, maybe it won't. It needs to be done in conjunction with rehab exercises, right? Because we need to actually like stimulate blood flow to those areas. So it definitely isn't something that we can use like as a replacement for the right stuff, but it's definitely something you can use to accelerate healing. So yeah, I think it would be worth a shot, 100%. Starting Accutane next week would increase my testosterone, adding anabolics, be ideal on Accutane. It probably won't make a big difference. I think with Accutane, you might notice a little bit of like liver enzyme elevation, but nothing drastic. Testosterone's not really going to affect that. There are ways to prevent acne on testosterone. So sometimes it's actually low progesterone that can cause acne. Sometimes it's high estrogen. So we've got to figure out what the cause would be if the testosterone is stimulating it. I know that, equipoise causes acne in a lot of people, but not everybody. And the mechanism by which it does it, I'm not entirely sure. But, I don't think it would be a big problem. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but off the top of my head, I would think that there would be no interaction or no issue because testosterone isn't, it's not like a pill. It's not going through liver. It's not going to add extra liver stress. So I don't think so. What I would look into is does Accutane have any negative effects on like tendon or ligament structure? Because things like antibiotics, for instance, I know that we spoke about this. Antibiotics like doxycycline, for instance, will put you at higher risk for tendon injuries. So I probably wouldn't want to be on doxy and then also increase the dose of anabolics because now I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to be lifting more weights. My muscle contractions are going to be stronger and my tendons are compromised. So that's probably not a good combination. But with Accutane, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't quite looked into that. I've never used it. I don't get cystic acne with gear. I get like one or two big ones on my back. I don't know what it is. I don't get like a bunch of different acne spots. I just get like one or two like giant fucking volcanoes condensed down into one. So, and I always know that I have them because like I'll sit back in my chair and I'll feel like it feels like someone's stabbing me with a needle. Then I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh fuck, there's like a giant volcano ready to explode on my back. I shoot once per week. Semen retention? Oh, shoot test once per week. I notice wild swings in focus. What's the thought on spreading it over the course of the week? Yeah, I mean that's why I'm an advocate of daily injections is spreading it out over the week. People that notice side effects, and everybody's different. Some people are very prone to side effects from tests, and with those people, spreading your dose out throughout the week can alleviate a lot of that because you're not getting the peaks and the troughs, and then you don't, your levels are stable. There are two schools of thought. So sometimes the instability of the levels, like the big peaks and the troughs, are actually what help people kind of like feel it more, because they get like this big boost, and some people like that. With other people, where maybe it's affecting your focus, hey, maybe it is a good idea for you to just do, daily injections. Keeps your levels more stable. So, that's what I'd recommend. If anybody has side effects, I'd recommend switching to daily injections. You do it with an insulin syringe. Easy day. You don't have to use a giant harpoon. It's a tiny dose every single day. Throw it in your deltoid or something. No problem. Kind of want to increase my test dose to 300 or 350. Give it a shot, man. Look, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. Like I can't give you medical advice. I'm not a doctor, blah, blah, blah. But in my opinion, test is pretty benign. Like there's safety data that shows that you can run up to 500 milligrams of test for like years without having negative side effects. Now, there is some evidence that once you pass the 250 milligram threshold, then you could be prone to cardiac remodeling. The extent to which, I'm not exactly sure, but that is a consideration. So, and it depends. It's genetically dependent, right? Not everybody's going to be prone to that. So what I would do if you wanted to be super safe would be, get an EKG, get a 12 lead done, maybe get some cardiac imaging, go to a cardiologist and get a good workup. I got a referral to a great cardiologist. They kind of like, how do I want to put this? I asked them, I was like, hey, what tests can we do? And they were like, well, depending on your symptoms, we could pretty much do anything. And she's like, what are your symptoms? I'm like, well, I was like, well, I want to get, like a cardiac MRI to see what's going on, just to see what my heart looks like. And she's like, well, we can only do that if you're having chest pain on a weekly basis. And she's like, are you? And I said, well, and then she kind of like winked. And I was like, oh, yes, I am having chest pain. And she's like, okay, cool. Yeah, we can do that. So sometimes it comes down to finding a good solid provider. But anyways, long story short, you guys, look, I'm not telling you that this stuff, I'm not telling you to be reckless. But when you've been in this world for a while and you see what people are actually using, 300 to 350 of tests is like, there's people that run that for decades and decades. I mean, I know a guy who's been on like 750 tests for like 25 years, and he's kicking. Monitor blood work, monitor blood pressure especially, and that's going to be the sign of if you're going to get really bad side effects or not. Do I provide guidance? Well, it depends on who's asking. No. For your animals, yeah. Yeah, I can. Absolutely. Depends on the hypothetical situation that you're trying to do. But yeah, I mean, I can tell you like what the research shows and all that. So, but again, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell people what I think they should do. This stuff is not for human consumption. So, but I did I switched to doing the daily test injections, and personally, I actually didn't like it. And I used to be a really big advocate for the daily injections, and the reason was because the logic is sound, right? You're keeping your levels stable. So I'm like, well, that's going to cause less side effects. Well, I didn't really have any side effects to begin with. But what happened when I started doing daily injections was I did start to feel a little bit like emotionally flat, like my kind of like aggression, just my go-getterness wasn't really quite there. And so I switched back to twice a week, and it just feels a lot better for me. But I know some people that it's the complete opposite. So it really is one of those things where it just depends on the person, because it's very genetically dependent what happens when you inject testosterone. So, some people are going to get a lot of aromatization. Some people are going to get a lot of conversion to DHT, and some people aren't. So it just depends on the person. So you got to do what feels best for you. Can you flex your arm? I want to see your muscles. I don't have any muscles. These are implants. If I flex, it might explode. I don't want to try too hard. But yeah, I'm actually taking this week entirely off from the gym. So it was supposed to be a deload week for me anyways. But I've got a lot of business stuff to work on. I'm working with a new business coach, and there's a huge amount of like curriculum I have to go over and some stuff I have to do. A lot of content that I have to make. So I just decided, hey, I'm just going to take this week mentally off from the gym. No, I'm not going to hit a front double bicep for you. This is not gay for pay. Maybe I'll have a tipping, like a tip thing where you can like super chat and I'll like flex for tips. And then it'll be like an OnlyFans. Can peptides be stacked? Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, okay? Like peptides, they're just like short chains of amino acids, right? So they're little proteins, and they all do different things. So there isn't like it's not like anabolics where like all anabolics do the same thing or they have like the same mechanism of action and they're like slightly different effects. Peptides are like, they're all completely different. So yeah, I mean, generally there's going to be no interaction between these things. So you can take multiple things. I mean, I think there's like 6 or 7 things that my lab rat's taking right now. No real issues. So they're pretty benign, man. It's pretty hard to mess up, mess your research subject up and really hurt yourself. But no, I don't want to flex, man. I don't really look super jacked on camera. I got to get the right angles. It's hard being tall, man, because you look so long and lanky. I feel like when I'm in person, people can they can kind of like get a sense of like, me being a larger person. But in a video, if there's no reference point, it's hard to tell. So I just got to talk about my height and cope. I got to cope and say I'm tall, and then it'll be an excuse. I mean, even like I know a guy who's 6'7", like 350 and shredded, and he looks big. But there are people, like a lot of guys who are smaller than him, like 5'7", 230, like 100 pounds less than him, that look way bigger than him. And it's just because like they're fucking condensed. When you're tall and you're like spread out, it's different. It's harder to look as jacked. What other questions you guys got? Yeah, we could talk training. I love to nerd out on training methodologies, nutrition, supplements, all that stuff. I'll talk about anything. Are you tall? Yeah, I am. I'm 6'5", man. So I'm ridiculously tall. I don't know where I got it from. I guess my mom's dad apparently was a pretty tall guy. Never met him, but I think that's where it comes from. So, but yeah, I'm 6'5". I think I'm like 250 right now. Probably the leanest I've been too, which is really cool. Not really running a whole lot either. But it does make it hard to lift on some equipment at the gym. Especially on the back equipment. You can't stretch your arms out as much. Get that good lat stretch. That's something I've been coaching people on a lot too lately, guys. Okay, so, all right. So my clients are interested in increasing performance, but also improving the physique. Okay, so we want to be as strong as possible. We want to be fast. We want to look jacked. All right, so there has to be like a blend of these things in our training, but the mindset of like how you're executing reps is also different when you're doing this stuff. Okay, so for instance, like if I am trying to get like my back squat or my deadlift up, my bench press, if I'm doing one of those movements, I'm thinking about like how can I efficiently move that weight from A to B, go through that range of motion, get that number up, right? That benchmark. So that's what I'm kind of like thinking like a power lifter. However, what I'm doing, a bodybuilding exercise like an isolation, like let's say I'm trying to bring my quads up. Maybe it's even for the purpose of getting my squat stronger, right? Even if I'm only performance focused, I want to get my squat stronger. Maybe I have to bring my quads up. Maybe they need to be more muscular. Now, when I'm doing a quad exercise like a hack squat or something, well, then I don't really care about the weight. Then I care about a big stretch of the muscle, right? Being in like an actually like mechanically disadvantageous position. Getting a big stretch of that muscle, pausing, contracting, and I'm thinking about the actual muscle working. Whereas like in a back squat, I don't care if my quads are working because like the back squat's not the primary movement that's going to grow your quads anyways for most people. So there's just like, you have to kind of like shift your brain in your workouts. So like when I'm doing my squat, I'm thinking like a power lifter. Hey, I'm going to lift this heavy ass weight, efficiently from point A to point B. And then when I move on later in the workout, let's say I'm doing leg extensions. Well, then it's not so much about the weight that I'm using. Like, yeah, I need to know what weight I'm using to track my performance so that I can improve every time I train. However, it has to be done in the context of feeling it where I want to feel it because I'm thinking like a bodybuilder in that sense. How do you feel about the 5-3-1 method? The 5-3-1 method works awesome. West Side Barbell Method works awesome. Look, I don't subscribe to like any one style of training, right? It's like it's the right tool for the right job. So if somebody responds well to 531 and it fits in with the rest of the training program well, we'll run it. Maybe later on conjugate will make a little bit more sense. But it just depends on like where that athlete is right now and where that fits into the broader program. So when I'm putting somebody's training program together, I'm not like, well, I'm a 531 guy or I'm a conjugate guy. I'm thinking more of like, okay, if I run 531, am I going to be able to get the other stuff into the program that I need to get in a way that's going to allow this athlete to recover well? So it just depends on where that person is. I know that's a vague answer, and people hate hearing like it depends. Everybody wants to have like a clear answer, like this is better than this thing. But the real answer is like it depends. Okay, like a good coach will say that. They'll say it depends. Somebody who doesn't really know what they're talking about will say, no, this thing is superior to this thing. It's like when people ask me, like, is the back squat better than the front squat or the searcher squat or something? It's like, it depends on what I'm trying to achieve by putting that movement in the training program. Okay. So, I mean, even if the goal is to improve the back squat, like with Ruben, for instance, like right now we're doing Zercher squats because that's the thing that I think is going to bring his back squat up. So, I got my first Army Achievement Medal today because of your program. Oh, dude. Well, it wasn't because of my program. It was because of you, man, because you working so hard. But I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. I'm guessing you like crushed your PT test. That's another thing too. Like, even if it's not fitness, you guys, like, I think you guys mostly understand this, but how you do one thing is how you do everything. So, if you have your fitness squared away, like you're training in a disciplined, regimented kind of way, you start doing everything else that way too. So if you're trying to run a business, like, hey, get your fitness in order, dude, because like if you are, if you're training in a progressive way and in a disciplined kind of way, you're going to carry that into your business or whatever your job is. So that's the real benefit, man. Two guards that are 6'5 plus and well over 350, no real muscle to speak on. What is a simple workout to get them slapping a couple and build some muscle? We work. Yeah, honestly, dude, like if they're 6'5", 350 and they're fat, like they're going to get the most benefit out of just trying to maintain the muscle mass that they have and losing body fat, okay? Because I don't think there's a whole lot of advantage to having a lot of mass that isn't functional mass. I mean, I guess like it's harder to fight a fat person. I've definitely grappled with fat people and it sucks for sure. But as far as like just overall ability goes, I would say that the best thing they could do is just get leaner while maintaining or improving their strength. But you can't really like bulk up when you're 350 and like 40% body fat. And again, like I can't, it's hard for me to say like, what is a simple workout? I mean, they need to be doing more steps. They need to be conditioning in a structured way, right? Maybe going to the gym and doing like a bodybuilding split, dude, just something really basic. And like, if they haven't worked out before, then maybe they don't even need to focus on progressive overload. Maybe it'll just happen on its own. But yeah, it's tough to just give blanket recommendations. I mean, if it were that simple, then I guess my job wouldn't exist, and I would probably just be, putting out generic programs, and there would not be a whole lot of difference between training programs. So it's tough to say, but I would say just make them. They need to move more, they need to eat better, they need to resistance train to maintain their muscle mass. But send them my way, man. Maybe we'll work out a group rate or something. But again, yeah, the hard part is the motivation, right? So I'll tell you this, dude, like I do a lot of calls with people who want to be clients. I've done hundreds of them, obviously. And in 100% of them, people say one of their problems is accountability to some degree. I actually had I had Claude analyze like 100 different calls that I did because I record them all. So I had to analyze like the transcripts. And I asked it like, what were the top 3 common like problems or like pains that people have with their current state? And it said in 100% of the calls, people mentioned accountability being a problem. So that kind of tells you everything. Like for most people, just being consistent is going to be the number one thing. And that's why having a coach can be so powerful. That's why I have somebody else program for me, right? So for me, it's not like motivation to go to the gym. It's motivation to do the right thing at the gym and not go off program. What else you guys got? Going back to 531 though. 531 is a really good program because you can do a lot with it. So it's not such an amount of volume that it will really crush an athlete, and you can put in a lot of accessory stuff after it and it's also a really sound progression. It's not too aggressive, so it does actually tend to blend really well with other styles of training because it doesn't necessarily like tax your recovery as much as some more aggressive progression methods. But again, it depends on the athlete, depends on the person. But I'm a big fan of 5-3-1. Yeah, dude. Accountability is everything, right? Like you could have the best program in the world, but if you're not sticking to it, and that's another thing too that I run into. A lot of people say things like, "Well, I know what to do, but I don't have the motivation, or I fall off track." And it's like, well, then you don't know what to do because part of the success is the accountability factor. So if you know what you have to do, and one of those things is accountability, you're not doing it, then like don't sit here and tell me you know what you're doing. But I don't know. It's just funny too because like a lot of most of the guys that I take on are like what I would call an intermediate athlete that has been kind of spinning their wheels for a long time, and they say, "Well, I know what I'm doing." It's like, well, why haven't you hit a PR in 6 months or a year then? Like maybe you actually don't know what you're doing, and it's okay. Like you knew what it took to get to the level that you're at, but what you don't know is how to break through to that next level, which is where good coaching can come into play. Having a good progression model in place for your program, having a system. So, what other questions you guys got? Yeah, again, I'm sorry that there's not a whole lot of people in here, you guys. I mentioned earlier I only announced this on Telegram a few hours ago, and I sent it to like a third of our clients that were doing this in TrueCoach. So next time I'll send it out to my email list. There's like 1,500 people on the email list. I'll announce it on Instagram. We'll get more people, and I'll promote it for a while, and I'll get people in here. But I just wanted to get myself back in the groove of like, okay, like setting the camera up, committing to doing a live stream. I'm probably not even going to post this on Instagram or on YouTube. Trying to stick to the food plan you have for me, but I find myself getting hungry and having no energy by the next time I can eat. Is it normal since I can only eat at the DFAC 3 times a day? Well, I would say, shoot us a message, man, and say that. Be like, hey, like I'm starving to have no energy, because then we need to adjust the meal plan. Not anything in between meals, snacks. Yeah, so then we have to basically be eating more to make up for that, right? So like the food that you would be eating in the pre-workout meals, if you absolutely cannot snack at all, then you just have to increase the food that is being eaten in the meals. All right, but you got to communicate that to us so that we can adjust the plan. All right, it's like, hey, I need this fixed because I'm under eating. The last thing you want to do if you're trying to lose body fat is under eat, right? Because then you're going to have no energy to train. You're going to destroy your metabolism. You're going to end up in that position where now you can't maintain or grow muscle mass because you don't have the energy to train hard. And then now you're in such a calorie deficit that your body adapts to that. And then now you're eating not enough to train hard, but also you're not losing body fat. So it's not a good position to be in. It's not something that's sustainable. Okay, so that has to be addressed. Tier 1 holster showed up. It's pretty legit. Yeah, Tier 1's amazing, you guys. Tier 1 holsters are the best. And I'm not just saying that because I worked there. I don't work there anymore. I didn't leave on bad terms or anything, but I will always shill Tier 1 because, I've tried everything, man, and I think they're the best for sure. I also really am a big fan of the people that run that business. I think they're really good people that really care about their product. So, yeah, highly recommended. You sure don't want to buy some Gunderwear? Some gun holster undies, dude? But yeah, man, I love my Tier 1, dude. I have one for my Glock 43X and one for my 45. The one that's right behind me. Pretty much my EDC. Oh, here's actually something that's going to be, this is kind of I haven't announced this yet, you guys, but we're going to be doing like a little like kind of challenge thing, kind of like a contest. So we're going to announce it probably, later this week, but essentially what it's going to be is you're going to fill out this application, okay? So this is just for current clients. You're going to fill out an application. It's going to ask you like, what are your goals? Like, what were your problems when you first started? How's training been going? That kind of stuff. And we're going to take a look at all these applications, and we're going to pick 3 people that seem to have like the coolest fitness story. Not necessarily like the best before and after transformation, anything like that, but just people who have kind of like a compelling story that I think people would be interested in. So we're going to pick 3 of them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have basically a page where people can vote on like who they want to be, like the winner of the challenge, basically. And the winner of the challenge, we're going to give them either a Glock of their choice or $500, and then free coaching for the other two for a period of time. But it'll be pretty cool. So basically, what you'll do is, those three finalists. Basically, you'll just like post on your story about training, and I'll give you the formats for it. I'll tell you like what to say if you need help with that stuff. Make a few posts on your Instagram page itself a few times a week. And again, like I'll give you the formats or tell you what to say in the videos or what to post or whatever. You don't have to post like before and afters or shirtless mirror selfies or anything like that. But basically, people will vote, and then whoever wins, get a free Glock, man. It'll be cool. So we'll be sending applications out for that pretty soon. So it'd be nice if you guys would apply for it. It's like, hey, you win a free gun. Worst case scenario, you don't get anything, but best case scenario, you get a free gun. But yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be mutually beneficial, right? Because like I will get my business exposure on your Instagram, free advertising, and then you're going to get a gun or some money or something like that. So it'll be fun. It'll be a cool little challenge. It'll also give me a lot of insight into like how you guys are doing too, like a little mini check-in. The Gundies was the worst thing I've seen in a while. Hunter Constantine. Yeah, the Gunderwear thing was crazy, man. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I thought that was pretty funny. I just can't believe people carrying a soft-sided holster still, but I guess a lot of people just aren't in like the gun community. And so it's one of those things where it's like fitness, right? The vast majority of people that go to the gym, they're just going to the gym to just like work out. Like they just want to get a pump in. They don't have like the higher level training knowledge. And it's the same thing with guns. Like, there's plenty of people that they don't really know anything about guns. It's kind of like a tertiary hobby for them. It's kind of a side thing. And so they don't know like, oh, you should carry with a round in the chamber. You should not have a soft-sided holster. Like these thoughts don't go through their head because they're very casual about it. So we call these people FUDs. Best way to go about getting my blood work tested to see my levels while in the military, 25-year-old male. Go to AlgoRx, man. Use my code. Go to algorx.com, make an account, get the intermediate male blood panel. Use my code high risk. You get 10% off, and I get a little kickback too. And then send me your blood work, man, and we'll take a look at it. But the intermediate blood panel will tell us pretty much everything that we need to know. And AlgoRx, even without my code, AlgoRx is definitely the cheapest way to go about it. If you go to your doctor, they are not going to test the right stuff. It's not going to be productive. So I would just knock it out in one shot, get the intermediate blood panel. It'll send you a lab requisition for LabCorp. It'll send you an email saying, hey, go here to set up your blood draw. You go into LabCorp, you get your blood drawn, and then we can take a look at what your labs look like and figure out what's going on. But and you only need to do that lab work like maybe once a year. I do mine. I do a pretty comprehensive one like every 3 months, but I'm also a fucking nerd with this stuff. So $500 worth of Veris peptides. Yeah, hell yeah. That'll fix it. Just go buy 5 of everything. We're going to run out of stock of stuff soon, actually. We just bought like initial stock because I didn't know how much it was going to blow up. But dude, we're about to run out of stuff already. Like there's a lot of people buying. I'm the GOAT because of you, Unc. Hell yeah, dude. You are the GOAT. You're crushing it, man. A lot left in the tank too, dude. Yeah, so dude. I'm assuming this is Kyle C. You're a fucking freak athlete, man. Some people just respond really well to training, dude. But again, that's the point of having a coach, right? Because like I didn't think I responded well to training, and then I found the training that I did respond well to, and it made all the difference. And that's why, like, okay, there's always these debates about like what's better, like high volume, low volume, the Mike Mentzer method, the whatever, like. The reality is that they all work for different people at different times, okay? And if you have a good coach, they're going to be able to discern what you need, and maybe it's going to be different for different stuff. So, we talked about the 5-3-1 method or the the conjugate method. Well, maybe the conjugate method is going to work well for you for your bench press, but then maybe 5-3-1 is more productive for you for your squat. So a lot of my clients' programs end up being like a hybrid of a bunch of different shit. And there's different stuff for conditioning, and there's different protocols for bodybuilding. Okay, and my job is to like look at your training dashboard and track trends of like what's working, what isn't, and like I'm taking notes on like what methodologies we're applying at different times, and then I'm tracking the rate of progress using that method, and then I can see like what things worked, and I can kind of like hone it in and combine it. So that's why the rate of progress our clients get is so good. It's not as simple as just like, oh yeah, like I have this great workout program and I have you do this workout program. I'm actually like in real time determining what's working for you. And there are very few coaches out there that do that. Yeah. And actually, this business coach that I signed up for, he was like, I told him what I do. I told him like how in depth we are with stuff. And he's like, dude, he's like, then I told him what what we're doing. And he's like, dude, like you're doing too much, man. I'm like, this is just how I like it, man. It unfortunately makes it so the business can't grow too much because like one, we can only do that for a certain number of people because we're so in depth with things. And then two, like we're very limited on the support coaches that we can bring into our system because like you have to have a lot of training knowledge to be able to do that stuff. And the vast majority of people are just not there. Like people with a personal training cert, you're just not there, dude. You have to be doing this shit for a long time to learn all the intricacies of that stuff. That's the difference between being a professional and an amateur. So let's go for like 5 more minutes here. I got a new client call coming up, but I'll answer 1 or 2 more questions if you guys have them. Made gains here and there, doing whatever generic programs for sure, but this is taking me to another level. Yeah, dude. Glad to hear it, man. Yeah, that's why we're keeping you around, man. That's why I like training you, dude. And it's the people that can really like appreciate why we're doing what we're doing that get the best progress. Like I don't ever want people just going through the motions and just doing something without understanding like what the goal of the training session is. I'll give you an example. Like if I tell someone to do like 7 sets of 3 and it's speed work, and if they don't know that it's speed work and they don't execute it properly, you're not going to get the training effect. So make sure you're communicating with your coach. Make sure that you're asking questions. That's what we're here for. There's a lot more to this than just like executing a rep. Have you ever had a client do skin removal surgery? I haven't had any do it. I have 2 clients that are like in the process of going down that road. I do know that it's a very lengthy recovery process for sure. I can't tell you if it would be worth it or not, but I know that there are a lot of people that have done that. But I do know that it is a tough recovery process. Like it'll take you out for a little while, and hopefully you don't gain body fat while you're doing it. But definitely a personal decision. But yeah, you lose a lot of weight, and you are going to have loose skin. And there are a lot of like I think there are a lot of like people that try different methods to tighten it up on their own. But I think in the end, like if you lose a shit ton of weight, dude, you're just going to either have to get the surgery or just live with the loose skin. And I actually don't even know the efficacy of the skin surgery. Like, I don't know if it's super effective or not. I wouldn't know how to find the right surgeon. It's not my wheelhouse, but yeah. Hey, if it's something that you think is going to help you, like confidence-wise, then it might be worth it, man. And the cool thing is that when you come back to training hard, after that recovery process, well, you're not going to stop training, but you have to modify things quite a bit, right? Well, when you come back, that muscle memory is going to be there. So you're going to get it back quickly. Like I'm taking a week off of training right now. Like I'm literally not working out for an entire week. And a lot of people freak out about that stuff. They're like, well, I'm going on vacation for a week. So when I come back, I'm going to be weak and this and that. It's like, dude, you're actually going to come back stronger. Like I bet you next Monday when I go in the gym, I'm going to PR what I'm doing because of the rest. So maybe more gear and bigger muscles to fill it out. Yeah, honestly. Right? Like that's one of the big problems with people that lose a lot of weight really quickly without lifting is like they just end up like too flabby. Now, if obviously, like if you lose a shit ton of weight, there's really no way around it. But yeah, I mean, hey, fill it out, man. Absolutely. A lot of dudes who are bigger, they have giant calves, the fat guy calves. So you'll have some body parts that are just fucking yoked no matter what. But yeah, and this is totally off topic too, talking about guys who are fat that have big calves. But you've also seen probably people who are runners that have big calves and they don't lift. There is or like they have like ripped calves, right? But the rest of their body's like kind of flabby. There actually is a study that just happened where they proved that you can spot reduce body fat. Pretty crazy. So they had some people do, I think they did cardio, and then the other group did cardio after doing like a hard ab workout. And the people who did cardio after the hard ab workout, they lost like, I think it was like 10 or 15% more fat around the midsection specifically. So it's just funny because a lot of like the bro science stuff is being vindicated by science. Like a lot of the 80s and 90s fitness stuff that doesn't seem like it would make sense and that people say is bullshit, turns out it actually does work. And apparently spot fat reduction is one of them. I don't know. You still have to be in a calorie deficit for it to happen. But yeah, it's interesting. So like, hey, maybe if you're trying to lose body fat, you move your abdominal work to right before you do cardio, and maybe you'll get some extra fat loss in the midsection. Might be worth to try out. I mean, it's just a study that came out. It was just one, and I don't know how many subjects were in it, but 10 or 15% is pretty hard to say that it was just random. So, all right, 2 more minutes, and then I got to hop on a call. But again, guys, I'm sorry for the lack of people in here. I'm going to make a bigger announcement next time, so we get plenty of viewers. Just trying to get back in the groove of doing live streams here. I'll probably just delete this one off of YouTube because it hasn't been incredibly exciting. But I do like having you guys on. I do like talking and talking about training. So I nerd out on this shit. Ironically, as a fitness coach, I sit in front of a desk most of my day. So nerding out, reading studies, coaching people, staying on top of my craft. A lot of my knowledge does come from my own experience with training, right? But I would say the vast majority of my knowledge actually comes from coaching others, which is what a good coach should do, right? It's not about you. It's about what you can make other people do. So still on the mats. No, actually I haven't been on the mats, unfortunately, dude, because what I have this like nasty custody battle going on, and the ex has not been bringing the kid to jiu-jitsu. So kind of made things a little depressing for me. So I have not been on the mats. Unfortunately, I'm a perpetual white belt. Totally uncommitted fucking loser when it comes to martial arts, unfortunately. But if I can get Patton back into it, once all this stuff is cleared up, then we'll be doing it together again. You have Fairplay milk. Oh, Fairlife milk in my diet. Can I drink a Fairlife protein shake? No, because the Fairlife premix protein shakes are full of what is it called? They're full of nasty stuff, dude. I mean, I guess you could, but in the end, the biggest thing is going to be the macros, right? So you don't have to make that shake, by the way. I know what shake you're talking about. It's the same recipe I give pretty much everybody for that. I adjust the amounts, but you could eat that stuff individually because it's like a banana, honey, almond butter. You could literally have banana, honey, and almond butter and eat it with a spoon, and then put the Fairlife and protein powder in a shaker cup and just do it like that. So you don't have to put it in a blender because I know it's a pain in the ass to clean blenders. Sorry to hear, man, gain fake. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Same. Yeah, been a white belt for 5 years. Same. I've been a white belt for like 10 years, dude. I literally do the thing with martial arts that I tell people they're losers for doing with fitness, where they start for a few months and then stop. But I just like don't care that much. I do enjoy martial arts, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like there is I don't know, dude. Like I feel like unless you're doing striking, like just doing jiu-jitsu, I feel like it's more of a hobby. I don't know how applicable it would be in like a real life or death fight situation. I mean, obviously it would. But I think if I start doing martial arts again, I'm going to be, doing a blend of grappling and striking, because I think it all has to be blended together. And you have to know like the dynamics of how a fight would work, because like if I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I might think I'm in a really good position, but I might actually be in a position where somebody could pummel the fuck out of me. So, I've got this guy in the guard, like I'm safe. Well, like in real life, you have somebody in the guard that can still beat the piss out of your face. So, I don't think like just doing jiu-jitsu by itself is sufficient. But again, like that's why I try to be big and carry a gun. Honestly, dude, I think being big is probably better for self-defense than anything else, because there's a reason there's weight classes in strength sports, like being 6'5", 260. I mean, if I go up against somebody who's like 5'2", 150, like I'm probably going to kill them no matter what their skill level is. Because I've grappled with women who are, black belts, and like I could easily destroy them with zero knowledge. That's just how it is. Like, not everybody's built the same. Now, you take this to an extreme, right? Like if I was fighting somebody that was 10 feet tall, like does it matter how much fucking grappling I know? Probably not. They just pick me up and throw me. So I think that your overall strength and size is probably going to be the most important thing. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming on. Again, next time we do this, I'll give you guys a little bit more notice. I'll announce to all of our clients instead of a third of them. I'm going to make an email, send it out to the email list. It has a bunch of people on it. I'll make an announcement on Instagram, and we'll have a much better showing. So, but I just want to get in the groove of the live stream thing, get some of the technical bugs worked out. Last time I didn't have the headphones in, and there was like a terrible echo in the mic. So I'm going to go ahead and listen back to this, and hopefully it sounds better than last time. And if this setup actually works, then this is what I'll do again when I actually run this for real and promote it. So, anyways, thanks for coming, guys. Hey, get in communication with your coach. If you guys have issues with your nutrition plan or anything, make sure you're communicating that to us. All right. Don't just try to raw dog it and try to figure it out on your own. Like, that's what we're here for. So if you have an issue with how your nutrition plan is going and something is inconvenient for you, or you're not feeling good, or you're feeling underfed or something like that, make sure you're letting us know so that we can address it right away. All right.